Or you know what else, Jenny? I don't know if you want to talk about like the student ambassador stuff at all.
Yeah, sure. So I don't know if you guys all saw, but we recently put out an announcement in the community where we are reopening the doors to the ambassador program. I don't know if everybody here is part of the program. Probably some of you are. Some of you are just part of the brigade, and some of you are just community members. But we do have a BAT ambassador program, which historically has just been for anybody who wants to get involved with the community, help us do marketing at a grassroots level, and basically just help BAT and Brave go as viral as possible. And as of last week, we reopened the doors once again. And specifically this time, we're looking to recruit college students. We did kick off a little bit of a student college initiative in 2019, right before COVID hit, but it really didn't get a chance to lift off of the ground because of the pandemic. So now we are looking for students who are interested in getting involved. Students are great because well, they've got lots of time on their hands for one, and two, we want to get them started on Bat and Brave while they're young, and we want to infiltrate various campus groups and spread the word that way. So if you are a student or you know anybody who's a student and who wants, is passionate about Bat or Brave and wants to get involved in the community in any capacity, you can send them my way. You can find me in the Bat Brigade Discord server. Probably Drew will drop the link in the chat, or I can do that later. The link is also all over Twitter. And you can also sign up for the ambassadors program as a student, or just, anybody who wants to get involved can do so via the form on Reddit. Should be pinned to the top of the Bat Project subreddit.
Great. No, that's awesome. Cool. We had Chris is here too. So welcome, Chris. Some of you might know Chris from Chris is an OG with Bat, but he's also PM on rewards. So welcome, Chris. So I see one question from anti-vax gay frog border crisis around this month is a record for bat buys for ad campaigns. Why do you think it hasn't had an effect on the price yet? I mean, I think, the rest of this kind of goes on, but the whole market is correcting right now. It's not just a matter of this. So I don't know, like expecting it to jump with everything else going on seems kind of unreasonable, but that's just my take. So another question, I want to earn more. How can I receive more ads? So Chris, I don't know, maybe you want to kind of talk about some of the settings maybe for ad earnings and some of the stuff going on with the wallet, if Chris is here. Otherwise I can just answer. If you want to, so if you're on desktop, you can go to brave://rewards, and then under the ad settings, there's a feature that says, how many ads per hour, and you can turn that all the way up to 10 ads max per hour, and that will increase the amount of ads that you see, depending on the area that you're in. Someone asked how close are we to the wallet release. I think you can track the wallet release on GitHub, but it should be getting into nightly within the next couple of weeks, I believe, or even sooner. Acel's mentioned, don't forget sponsored images to earn more. So there's that too. And the other thing not to forget is that Brave News ads are now available too. So you can scroll through those alongside the content in the Brave News feed. Any chance on increasing to more than 10? I'm not sure. We just recently added 10. 10 was added basically back in, I think it was back in June, if I recall correctly, when we were doing some testing and trying to see how we could increase the volume. Right now, I think we're just kind of waiting and seeing. 5 is the default. There might be a chance that we increase that 10 amount, but I think right now we made a bunch of changes around this, allowing the 10, changing the default to 5. We're kind of seeing how that's going, and we're also doing a lot of testing for the custom notification format, the new notification style that some folks have seen on Nightly. We're doing A/B testing on there, so I don't think we're going to want to make any radical changes to anything else beyond what we've already done while we're doing that testing. So I hope that makes sense. There's some questions around Brave OS. I think Brendan answered that last time, in that they were looking at this with Firefox. I think that he thinks there's something out there in the open source world that could work, but there are some challenges. If Brendan joins today, he can elaborate on that a little bit more, or you guys can ping him on Twitter too, if you have questions about that. Chris, are you there?
Yes, I am here now. I was here before, but I had no audio for some reason. So,
Chris, man, why don't you give a little bit of background, like on working at Brave, kind of like how you got here, what you're working on now, and what people should be excited about with rewards. And if anyone has any questions about rewards too, feel free. Chris is the guy to talk to. So chime in with questions or raise your hands or whatever, and I can take a look at the chat while we go.
Sure. So I started at Brave in 2018. Before that, I was a community member, and I went to Eich Denver and all these other meetups and conferences where the Bat and Brave team were, and I like to volunteer. And then eventually I joined Brave, and I started off as technical operations coordinator, which is an interesting title, but I did a bunch of web development stuff and technical support and just basically helped around everywhere. And now I'm the product manager for Brave Rewards. So I basically manage product features and projects like development, oversee development and integration and implementation of features for Brave Rewards inside the Brave browser. Brave Rewards in the Creators app, so creators.brave.com, and some server-side stuff that kind of ties everything together. So what is working at Brave like? Well, it's busy. That's one thing for sure. It's really busy. We're always working on so many things simultaneously. And I would say the one thing that stands out is just how challenging it is, which is why I like it, because it's intellectually stimulating. I studied computer science and philosophy in university. So I like humanities. I like, thinking about ethical implications of technology and so on because of my philosophy background, but I also have a technical background as well from the computer science. But yeah, undergrad computer science is just nothing like, not even close to what we do at Brave. So, I've learned so much by being here, from, the basics of machine learning to all these things in cryptography, all these like advanced concepts and ideas, that I never heard of throughout my computer science education. So I really like it because I always get to learn.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
what stuff, like you work really closely with Gemini and on these new rewards options. What should people be kind of looking forward to with rewards? I know there's some work going on with SKU and some other work in the pipeline. Like give folks kind of a taste of what your team's working on, what you guys might be planning for down the road, if you don't mind.
Sure. Yeah. So the things we've been working on. I'll just recap quickly some of the features that we've shipped over the 8-9 months that I've been in the product manager position. So we did the custom tipping amounts feature for tips. We did the Bitflyer user wallet integration. We did the Gemini user wallet integration and a bunch of other small things, but those are the big headliners. As for what's coming up, so we're working right now on allowing creators to verify with multiple custodians simultaneously. So right now, if you're a creator, you can basically only verify with, Uphold or Gemini at any given time. But we want to allow creators to verify with, Uphold and Gemini simultaneously, so they can receive tips from people who are either on Uphold or Gemini. It's kind of like a store that accepts Visa and MasterCard instead of just one or the other. The other thing we're working on is, and I know the community really wants this, is the user wallet linking slot management. So right now there's a 4 slot linking slot limit. You can only connect 4 devices in your lifetime to your Gemini account or to your Uphold account. And, over time you kind of replace your devices, you lose them and so on. So we have something in the works now that will allow you to go in and see, which devices you have connected and then disconnect your devices over time, right? So like every 6 months or every 3 months or so, you can unlink a device. So that's something we're working on that's big. We're also working on the backup and restore feature. So back in the day, you were able to just, take your rewards wallet recovery phrase as a backup and then restore it into another instance of the browser. That's been gone, I think, since version 1.3 or version 1.13 or something. So we're reintroducing that feature. We had a kickoff meeting today for that. And so you're going to be able to back up and restore your BAT even without an Uphold wallet, without Uphold or without Gemini. So that's really exciting as well.
Awesome. We did get a question in here for you. I have a question for Chris too. If somebody from a different country, say India, for example, sets their VPN to US IP, will they be able to earn the same rewards as a US user? What do you know about that, Chris?
So I believe they will get US ads because the ad catalog you get is basically determined by the IP address region, like geo IP. However, if you're using a VPN and switching regions like that, it's not considered legitimate because the advertisers are paying to advertise to people in the US. But if you're not actually in the US, that's not really considered valid or good. So there's a chance you may get caught up in our anti-fraud filters.
So be careful.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me see. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask, over the mic to Chris? I think L4, was that you? Did you just have one or Lee? Or I might have just been seeing a thing. All right, let's check the chat for more questions. Can we expect more options for in-browser custodians, i.e. more than Uphold and Gemini? Chris, that's a good one for you.
Yeah, I think we're open to doing them. Maybe Brendan can speak to that too. If there's a partner that would work, I could help on the integration there. As of this second, we're not working on one right now. We're focusing on some other items. But if Brendan's here, maybe he can speak to more custodians in the future.
I see Brendan is here. Oh, wow. All right, Brendan, welcome to the call. All right, so we got another question. I think we can grab that in the meantime. So you asked, why are ad buys at all-time highs this month? Have you started self-serve rollouts? No, I think, we're seeing renewals from advertisers, and advertisers that have been buying are making bigger buys. So that and the sales team's working really hard to get additional advertisers on board. So, these are all good signs for the ecosystem and for Brave Ads in general, and for, the advertisers that are spending more money with us each month. So hope that helps answer the question. Here's another one, Chris. Chris and Luke, what upcoming features are you most excited about? What are you excited about, Chris?
I'm very excited about the user linking slots management feature. I know that sounds kind of funny, but I just think it'll really help users, because I know people in the community really want that. And I just like introducing features or patterns in the product that people expect. I feel like, in the past, the first thing we're focusing on is just getting the entire reward system stood up. And so there were some niceties or quality of life things that were kind of missing. And so I really like actually implementing those quality of life things, because not only does it reduce support load, but I one thing I really get a lot of pleasure from is creating a product that behaves in a way that a user expects it to behave, you know? So they expect to be able to manage their linking slots, and lo and behold, it's actually there. So I'm actually looking forward to that the most.
Awesome. What's up with what's going on with on-chain tipping, Chris? Because I know that was something. Can you give folks an update on that? I know we were talking about it for a while, but just kind of where that's at in the queue.
Yeah, so that is coming after the Brave crypto wallet. The new crypto wallet has been released, because then we can basically hook up the reward side of things, like the tipping banner, to the crypto wallet. So it's kind of waiting on that, and it's been on hold for that. And we'll see. I think it's cool and important because of the crypto narrative. Like, I really want to emphasize that we care about crypto and blockchain and so on. However, of course, in reality, tips on chain are kind of infeasible for most people, because of the gas fees. Right now, it's like you're going to tip 2 BAT and it's going to cost you $45 in gas fees. And at the same time, there is a fingerprinting risk. Whenever you make tips on chain, there's a public record of it. So it's important that we communicate that to users. And I think, users who are advanced enough to even do an on-chain tip, they can accept that risk, but it's important to design the product in a way where we disclose that risk to the user so they know.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, yeah, and I think the Ethereum blockchain transaction fees are so prohibitive right now. Not really the most feasible thing to do at the moment, but it's exciting to see kind of the competition starting to take place between different solutions. Solana's picked up a lot of speed over the summer, and Polygon, etc., and Binance Smart Chain. It's kind of forcing a hand a bit on making things a little bit more usable, hopefully. Someone also asked, mentioned, I didn't say what I'm excited about either. The wallet's what I'm really stoked about. Really excited to see that hit nightly and to test it out and see what people think, especially in that nightly cohort. If you're not all using Brave nightly and you want to help us test out, you can go to brave.com, and at the bottom of the site there's a nightly link for Brave nightly. You can test out earlier versions. It's experimental, but we get a lot of good feedback from people helping us test out and break things there. So if you're ever curious about trying something a little bit earlier, you can go check that out there.
Yeah, and in the nightly build right now, there's a new rewards panel. So when you press the little bat icon in the URL bar on the right-hand side, there's a totally new design there, and users are loving it. So go and test that out, because we want to make sure that works perfectly before it lands in release channel.
What about Chris? Any thoughts on I know Brendan kind of answered this a little bit too last time. There's someone was asking about Discord tipping integration or Telegram, and I believe Brendan last time mentioned these all have kind of risks when you bring these new channels on. But what's your take on adding new platforms too? There's a lot, right? Give folks kind of an idea of what's involved a little bit with adding these new channels on and new options.
Sure. So when you add a new platform, so what we're talking about is adding support for, like you said, Telegram or Discord inside the browser, so you can tip, or like on Stack Exchange. So that requires work on the creator side. So this is the creator's app, the web application. You need to be able to have a way for creators to prove that they own a particular channel or account. So sometimes you can do that with OAuth. You can do that. There might be some other ways of doing that, but that's the idea. So on creator side, in addition to that, on the creator side, once you prove the ownership, you need to insert that information into our private CDN, which is how the browser checks whether a particular URL or channel or account is verified. On the client side, so this is on the browser side, you need to make sure that the browser can detect and parse these URLs. So if you go to Stack Exchange my user account. It knows how to detect that. It knows how to read that. Some platforms also have inline tipping buttons, so you don't merely just tip from the drop-down panel, but you can see a little tip button inside the page content itself. So you're going to need to do what's called a grease line script in order to inject those tipping buttons and interact with the reward service. And then finally, you need to also, set up anti-fraud pipelines for these new platforms. So, obviously, I'm not going to go into detail about how we do anti-fraud, but we have to make sure that these platforms are not being abused, right, to funnel fraudulent money or earnings. So there's a lot of moving parts there, but it's something we want to do, and I believe there may be some people joining the team who will be focused on adding more platforms in the very near future.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Someone asked, where do we provide nightly feedback? So you can go to community.brave.com, or there's actually a Twitter profile, twitter.com/brave nightly, that for our nightly channel. And, send us feedback there. Or, there's GitHub as well, but I think community and Twitter are probably the best for that. There was some other questions here. What's the strategic goal for Brave Talk? Is it a competitor to Zoom, Twitch? I don't know, Brendan, if you're still on and you want to jump in on that.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm having iOS, when it locks the lock screen, does something weird with audio in and out, but I'm back, unlocked. I have friends at Apple that are working on this. One of them in Twitter DM said, yeah, it's probably a bug. We thought they were just kind of shafting web versus native, but he thinks it's just a bug. Anyway, sorry. So strategically with Talk, we're trying to bring up our premium model for revenue, where we can give a free leg, like free calls between two parties, no login, no identification, anonymous calling.
Nope. Not sure if we might have lost Brendan.
It muted again. Sorry. Every time the screen locks, it's going to do that. This is the bug my friend at Apple confessed to. I don't know if he's fixing it. So okay, so I was probably cut off before I said that we're doing Brave Talk to give a better, more private experience, because we do what people might call end-to-end encryption. We're being careful how we use that term, and we're working on it's already strong against passive attacks. We do the free leg, which is two-party calls, and we want to have a reasonable cost structure for us to make a return and to provide good value to users, competitive in the market. I don't know if anybody saw it today. The Wall Street Journal revealed that I think it's probably CFIUS, the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, is now looking into Zoom's China plans or investment from China. And I think this is just part of rolling thunder that you're going to feel against Zoom. Zoom's it's not easy being the king, and so we're taking it on with a cleaner value proposition with open source and stronger privacy guarantees. Even in the premium leg, when you buy Brave Talk to do multi-party calls for more than two people, we don't track you or identify you. You get an anonymous sort of blind signature certificate that allows you to use the service, but those certificates are not linked to your identity, and they're also not linked one to another, so there's no fingerprinting. So we're trying to build a more private, responsible service against the big one. We think it's competitive against the others, and we want to see if we can get a reasonable revenue lift from it. We're not going to take over the world at once, but we don't have any assumptions about how big or small it would go. It could go big, and we're going to find out with your help.
Awesome. Yeah.
And Bat Utility too. I forgot to mention Bat Utility always. That's coming because when you buy premium, often people want to use a credit card for a larger purchase, but some might want to use Bat or have a top-up model. So we're going to make Bat useful there too.
Yeah, and someone had a good question. They're asking, when Brave Talk comes out, will we need to pay to use it? Like to join this community call right now. And the plan. So if you want to join a Brave Talk call, you can join a Brave Talk call without paying or having to do anything. If you want to initiate or start a Brave Talk call, you can do one-to-one calls if you opt into rewards. So there's a hook to again of help us get more people in the ecosystem and for people to have one-on-one calls, or you can pay for premium and have bigger group calls like this one that you initiate. So I hope that helps with that one too. Yeah. So let's see here. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask over Mike? All right. Is there any program that rewards users who participate in testing features of the Brave browser, like beta testing? So that's one of the things, and if Jennie, if you're here too, I think, Jennie and I have been working on this program around, web compatibility, finding bugs that the community is, we're bringing it through the bad ambassadors, but, it'll have a wider release. But yeah, I think one thing that we can take advantage of with having bad and having Brave rewards is to get people on to help us test things and to find bugs. And with this web compatibility program that we've been working on piloting, basically if you find bugs around, oh, this site when I go to pay with my credit card it doesn't work, or my video player is not working in Brave, or this, that, or the other thing, right? Like you can submit those issues to the community, and along with your Twitter handle, and if you have a verified account, we'll actually tip you different amounts of BAT depending on how involved you are with helping discover the severity of the issue, and also with getting it to a resolution. Jennie, I know I butchered that a little bit. I don't know if you want to chime in a little bit about that program, and if you're nearby.
Yeah, no, I think you described it perfectly. Yeah, I mean, I think you covered pretty much all of the bases. This is something that we started piloting with the bad ambassadors. But if you're not a bad ambassador and you're just, on this call and you're interested in helping out, helping to discover web compatibility bugs, and would be interested in helping us report them and sort through them, please let us know in the chat box on the left-hand side, and we will consider rolling this out to the broader community, which is something that we had planned to do anyway. But yeah, if you're interested, let us know in the side chat box.
All right. Anybody else have any questions they want to ask? Better ask, do you think Apple is blocking bad in iOS until they have a competing program? I don't think that's it was over a policy issue. I don't think it was related to that directly. Any other questions, folks? You guys have Brendan and Chris here today, and Jennie.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, everybody.
Oh, Jimmy too. Jimmy, Jennie. It's
a
party.
Sorry.
It's a real party we got going today. This is awesome.
Sorry, we were working on deploying the latest Talk.Brave for launch, and probably screwed it up for a few of you in the meantime.
Awesome. Yeah. So, anybody have questions? Just chime in. Wow, not a lot of questions today. All right. Any idea when Brave News may come to Android? Jimmy, do you know what the ETA is on that?
Yeah, we have a pretty good sense. I mean, I think we're making the final punch list now. I mean, it's probably still a few weeks of work to be done, but one of the Android engineers, that's his main focus right now. So, and the VP of engineering is supporting him. So it's probably realistically, it'll still be a few weeks before
October for Nightly, right?
Yeah, I think easily into Android Nightly and sometime in October. I can't speak for him, but that seems, it doesn't seem more than a few weeks away from Nightly.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big, because that's a big part of our MAUs is Android, so we're trying to get it out as soon as possible. And I will add, we are hiring around the back end for Brave News so we can get it out to all the rest of the world too, right? We've got a ton of regions where we want to be, having a great Brave News experience. We need some help to do it, but we're working hard on hiring that help.
Yeah, and then we've been looking at the ad stuff's been looking great on Brave News so far too. So pretty excited for people to get that on Android. Let's see if there are more questions here. There's some questions around iOS with rewards. I think we've answered those a bunch of times. I'm not going to kind of rehash the same stuff. If you guys want to see rewards on iOS, the same as you see them on Android and elsewhere, let the Apple folks know about that. Let's see here. It doesn't look like Drew's here. Let's see. All right. I'm not really going to answer a bunch of Bitcoin related questions around the price. What else have we got? Is the upcoming crypto wallet being released on all platforms at the same time? That's a great question. I think they're on similar but close paths. The last I checked, but desktop nightly will be featuring the MVP first. What I can try to do too is let me see if I can get James from our wallet team on the next call too to give a bit deeper dive into kind of the vision and a lot of the work that's going on there, because I know everybody's really excited about the wallet stuff. All right. Anyone else have will there be an option to directly reply to the comment in Brave Talk chat? I think that's a good feature request that we can send to the team.
Yeah.
That would be very helpful.
One of the things we talked about with the 8x8 team is look, this is a chat just like, Zoom has a chat, and basically the main thing you use a Zoom chat for is to be like, sorry, everybody, I have to go silently. But clearly this demands a lot more of chat, and you probably need to build in a real chat system that, I know somebody suggested better emojis and, threading and all that other stuff, would be good. So, we're going to be working hopefully with 8x8. I think you're right. I think at least threading would be helpful to make stuff like this practical, but probably there's some of the things we've discussed is is there any, sort of, embedded kind of chat stuff you could connect up here and kind of have a better experience. I think we'll be thinking about that more,
Yeah, that's great. We're getting some good suggestions on that too from folks right now. The Pepe emojis, image attachments, things like that. Yeah, it'd be cool. I think does anybody have any other questions they want to ask over the mic? All right.
I think
when
Robert,
Gemini. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I think Robert said he would like to speak over Mike.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, hi everyone. I was wondering if there was any plan for a feature where when someone tips a creator, the creator would be able to see when they're tipped, and if there was a way someone could send a message while tipping, just to say, hey, appreciate the job, or and send the tip as well as the message at the same time.
Yeah, so I actually have that listed on our things to do. And I know there's someone at Brave, Samson, you may know him from Twitter, who is also, I think, really interested in doing something like that. So I'll touch base with him and see, if he wants to push that initiative. But I do know that, we wanted to create some way of, notifying the creator once they get a tip, because I know that it feels really satisfying when that happens, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it'll definitely increase, I think, usage and excitement around tipping.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
Yeah, good question. Someone else asked you when Gemini on Android. Do you have a sense of when that's going to be available, Chris?
It's possible it could even come out Q4 or later Q4 this year. Depends on how. So basically, this is what's happening on Android. Android is getting a pretty big overhaul right now on rewards. I'm sure if you use an Android phone and you also use desktop, you kind of notice that the rewards experience on Android is not really up to par compared to where it is on desktop. And so that's something we want to close that gap and reach parity between the two platforms. So right now we have our Android rewards engineer 100% on this. That's the only thing he's working on is redoing rewards on Android. So right now he's converting the settings page to native code because right now it's inherited from desktop. It's basically a bunch of React code that comes in. So he's doing it all native. And then he's implementing the new rewards UI for the drop-down panel. So that's ongoing work. And then right once that is done, he is connecting up all of the custodians. It's not going to be as heavy of a lift, of course, than the original implementation of, for example, Gemini. So you won't have to wait as long. And the reason is that Android actually inherits a lot of the code from desktop. So it's it takes from our Brave core code base. So it's basically hooking it up to the UI. So it's possible we're already targeting November or end of November for a lot of this to be done. So we'll see if Gemini passes QA by that time. How we're feeling about the stability of rewards given how much is being redone, and then we'll see if we can release then. Otherwise, I would say Q1 2022, if not Q4 late this year.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, someone asked to, has Brave ever considered building paywalls for content creators? I don't know if Brendan, you feel like chiming on this one. I got an answer too, but I didn't know if you're still on the call. Otherwise, I can.
Depends on if you can hear me.
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear.
My iPhone's giving me fits.
Loud and clear.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you hear the question? Is about oh no, I guess.
Are we building? Could we consider building paywalls for content creators? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Yes. The answer is yes. I think it's come down to we did a bunch of work on this on the BD side, just trying to kind of gauge the temperature, and with big publishers at first, and it was a tough sell in the beginning. But I think we're seeing here there's emergence of new types of content creators, right? Like and even how we define a creator has changed over time. So we're it's not a top priority right now, but it is something we've been working on. I don't know, Jimmy, if you've got anything else you want to share on that.
We had a prototype of this, and this was like probably 18 months ago. It was like, and it was a really simple, because I think what we tried first was like this very low friction way, especially with the soft paywalls, right? Where like they're not super hard to fool or work around, honestly. And then we're like, hey guys, we can do this thing of like, hey, you've reached your limit. Like, you don't get the whole subscription, but do you want to, you want to get like 3 more views for 5 BAT and in partnership with the publisher. But yeah, the problem is, the big publishers are just very skeptical of that kind of stuff still. And I think, and so like nobody really picked it up yet. And it's, and it was hard to, I don't think it was the right solution yet to like work for the sort of smaller creators. But I think they'll slowly get around to it. My hope is that someday we are, like once some of this like bat, SKU type work is done, like, you can plow it into like monthly subscriptions, and then slowly we'll get publishers used to the idea of like, oh, hey, you should offer bat micropayments, and you should, give away article views for a couple of bat here. But it's not a tech thing. It's a convincing them to do it thing.
Yeah, I mean, I know just from working with a bunch of these publishers, like initially it was like, well, we build this really, strong relationship with users through their email address. And then it would be like, well, our legal or our accounting team doesn't know how to deal with crypto yet. But I think what's been changing too, and, we've seen the past 3 months is, the number of big players that are starting to experiment with NFTs or kind of get their hands dirty. It's pretty interesting to watch. Like you're seeing, crypto purchases for NFTs by Visa, right? Like for big amounts of fund for money, and I think if you look at the projects like what you could do with an NFT with BAT too, I think there's some interesting potential there over time, and it might be with like trying these types of things around like crypto publishers or crypto creators or influencers that have more of an appetite to get that stuff going. So I think we're kind of still evaluating, still working with creators, and waiting for just kind of like the right opportunity to creep up for us to test more of this stuff in a more visible way. But there's also a lot going on too. I think most folks that have been on more than one of these calls know there's quite a big plate of things in front of us that we're trying to tackle. So I think in due course.
And I do want to mention too, so I think the paywall stuff connects up to the SKUs system that we have, which allows like, private payments with BAT. So earlier this summer, I would say spring and earlier this summer, we worked a lot actually on SKUs. So there's a lot of client-side work. It actually, inside the browser, it actually leverages the payment request API. So when you press pay with BAT, it actually opens this modal, which is like a Chromium modal that comes down, and it's like, oh, you can complete your purchase through that. So we actually went in, and when you press pay with BAT, it opens that modal, but it's all styled, for BAT. It's like a special look. It's not like the generic Chromium look. So all of that work is actually complete. We did a lot of other client-side browser side work for SKUs. There's still some stuff that needs to be done on the server side, but that work does exist. So when it comes time to revisit it, which I hope to revisit soon as we have bandwidth, it's just a matter of rebasing that branch onto, and merging in the changes.
Awesome. Yeah, hey,
Luke, Brendan.
Hey, welcome back.
This iOS bug is giving me fits. Okay, so a paywall sounds like.
Uh-oh.
I'm still here.
Yeah, you're still here. It was just getting choppy there for a second.
Yeah. Do you want me to talk about paywalls at all?
Yeah, go for it. I mean, Jimmy gave some color, and I did too, but everybody loves to hear what you got to say about this stuff.
Yeah, so strategically, you have to be, again, you have to get publishers to believe that you're going to drive up their conversion to full subscriber. And full subscriber is this old game. The New York Times and the Post do it. Substack's kind of reinventing it in a good way. They're smarter. But how many times do you want to subscribe, and how many can you afford to buy, and how much can you actually read in your week? So you tend to get pulled into. Still hear me?
I can hear you now. You're breaking up a little bit.
No, the screen locks all the time. I got to keep my finger on it to keep it from locking. So I was saying that old publishers are not going to jump on this because they're worried about losing conversion to full subscribers. And that's just the way they are. It's kind of a dinosaur approach. Substack is going to school them, is taking them to school already, I would say. For us to do something like that, maybe we should work with Substack, but we don't want to, try to manage all the headaches that come with hosting content, like, brand, trust and safety and all that stuff. We want to be your browser, the user's agent, not the publisher's agent. Super important. You got to know who you work for. You can't serve two masters. So which is it, the user or the publisher? For us, it's the user. That means where we can go in a lightweight way between the fan and the creator, we will, and we should do things like somebody asked earlier, like super chats, pseudonymous, recognizable tips where you get thanked. But paywalls, it's going to be hard. And I think what you said, Luke, about NFTs is better. Sometimes it's better to leapfrog, right? The Unlocked project does this too. Don't try to wait around for the dinosaurs on Fifth Avenue or Sixth Avenue in New York to come around. Just go where the new builders are and the new sort of content models are. Go where NFTs are, and the old world will catch up, or it'll never get there, and it'll never change. That's my view.
No, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I think that user first too is definitely well said. Someone was asking too, have we considered cloud storage? I don't know what your thoughts are on that one, Brennan, but
yeah, it's a commodity game. It's incredibly cheap. It's hard to compete with. I don't see the point unless there's something really different about it. The different approach is that the decentralized projects like IPFS and Arweave and a few others need to be proven, because it's very difficult. You need big brains like Juan Benet still working out, game theory and actual cryptographic protocol problems around proof of availability, proof of storage. It's too easy in these systems for somebody who's got enough nodes or enough mining power, if there's some kind of mining, to censor you or just say, oops, it's not available, sorry, go offline. But I think the decentralized approaches might bear fruit over time. It needs more work, and that's not us. That's a separate project. You might look at Arweave or IPFS, which we integrate IPFS into Brave, right?
Yeah, that's great. Are there any early results on the native bat notifications that you're A/B testing? I think Jimmy might be well positioned to answer this one. I got some thoughts, but what are you seeing so far?
Yeah, sure. So right, as you mentioned, we are A/B testing them. We're not seeing like click-through rates that are quite as high, and that's why they're technically ready, but the design team is taken a couple of other stabs on it to, it's one of those things that I guess is deceptively hard problem is making a good notification, So basically here's what we're doing right now. We're basically rolling out our custom notification. I think as of the coming release, we're rolling out our custom notifications basically to platforms where they're not working for some reason, like there's some older platforms that we just can't get it to work with, or, ones where there's just some strange and hard to diagnose problem where like, oh, there's a permissions thing or something like that. So we're rolling it out there. And then we're rolling it out to Linux generally, just because usually the notification experience on Linux just kind of is inconsistent and patchy all over the place. So we're doing that there. But yeah, basically we still, we still don't want to push the button and roll it out to everything until like we feel very confident that like the performance is completely on par, and it's not quite there yet.
No, that's great. Yeah, there's some good feedback too.
Yeah, and exactly like one user saying, making the native ads optional if user is having issues with the OS notifications. That's exactly what we're hoping to do in this release, except we just try to do it automatically. At the very least in Windows, we can sense when there's just problems with it, and just whatever the configuration is wrong, and so we just try to fall back to that in this latest coming version. So we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Awesome. I know we're coming up right at the top of the hour. I don't know if anybody has any questions they want to ask before we wrap up. And appreciate everybody kind of buckling in with us with these technical difficulties on this particular call. But oh, someone asked in a previous call, wanted to know if there's any more info available. Are any plans for Brave search to show related images similar to how Google does? I believe there are plans for that, but I do not know. And I know I said I would get you an answer. Let me follow back up with the search team on that one.
We should get a search team member as a guest.
I agree. Search and wallet. That would be awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
I told Scott people were asking for him, but he's hard to convince that he doesn't. I don't think he likes to talk to people. So.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. I would pay to see that. The shout out to the Bat Elites. Thank you, Bat Elites. Thank you, Bat Brigade. Thank you, everybody that does everything memes. Letting people know about Bat. Everybody on Twitter, much appreciated. Oh, someone asked, okay, here's a good question just before we wrap. What happens if we get tipped on Twitter or other social networks before signing up for Bat Creators? So we actually made it so that, when you tip, I don't know, Chris, you're still on, right? Like you want to give a rundown on how the pledging stuff works?
Yeah, so this is how it works. Let's say I'm a user and I'm trying to tip a Twitter account that's not yet verified in the Bat creators ecosystem. That tip will be registered, but it stays in your browser and it goes into something called your pending contributions list. If you go to your Brave Reward settings page, you can see there's a little thing that says see all pending contributions. If you click into that, you'll see a list of all your pending tips. And basically what it does is that your browser retries the tip, like every 24 hours for 90 days. And so it'll just keep checking if that creator has verified, like once a day. And then if they have verified, it'll send the tip through.
And important to note, we don't, on our servers, in any way see that creator's identity or URL associated with your anonymous identity. We don't see any of that stuff. It stays in your browser. Because if you think about it, you say you get on Twitter and you decide to tip. If you wanted to tip a bunch of unique creators, you might fingerprint yourself. We don't want that on our servers, so it's all in your browser.
Looks like there's a question from AO.
Yeah, just a follow-up question. Oh yeah, so recently I got hit by Jennie on Twitter, and I just registered for the Bat Creator shortly after that, and I haven't received any notification or anything. So I just want to know how long it takes, and if it's something that's just gone, or I can expect it in the future.
So right now, Jennie should see it in her pending tips, like Chris said. I don't know if she can confirm that, and it should go out within a day, if you're connected. It has to retry at a time when you're online and all that.
All right, it's happened about maybe a week ago or something like that.
Yeah, so it depends if, so are you also connected to an Uphold account in your creators.brave account?
Oh, yes, I am.
Okay, so yeah, we'll check on that. It definitely depends because, for example, let's say I am let's say Jennie's browser is connected to Uphold and you verify, but you don't have an Uphold account, that tip won't be able to go through, right? So it's only when you connect the Uphold account where, that tip could actually...
You have to get all the way through Uphold's verification process. I don't know if you've done that yet, Theo.
Oh yeah, I've done all that.
Okay. Jennie probably could check if it's still pending. Could even confirm that if you reload your Twitter account in her browser, she can see you're verified. And then maybe just try it again. I don't know. You can always cancel it. Try it again.
Yeah. And also keep in mind, when you have an Uphold account connected to your creator's account, and let's say Jennie, the tipper, is also on Uphold, the tip goes directly to your Uphold account. It does not land in your creator's dashboard first.
Oh, super important. So yeah, we don't even see it. You have to go into Uphold to see it. Maybe that's the missing step here.
I'll check that out. Thanks.
Cool.
Hey, AO, can you send me a message on Twitter and we can work through this together?
All right, no problem, Jennie. I'll do that.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
I just to clear the air, I don't think there's any benefit to the user either way about which way they fold their toilet paper, but appreciate the question. I think that's a good sign to thank everybody for joining us on this call and bearing through a little bit of the hiccups in the beginning. Come back in same bad time, same bad channel next week. And thanks all for everything you do in the community, and reach out to us online, and we'll talk to you next week. See y'all.